thing I can tell you.
Of course, it was almost hard for Dennis to look lonely or depressed because he had his ridiculous glasses on.
Well, yes, this is true, because I always said that if Dennis didn't play snooker, he could have been a great comedian, you know. And these specs of his helped him a great deal. Originally, he got them from my dear old mate, Jack Carnham.
Jack Carnham was more than just a commentator. He was the inventor of glasses, a billiards champion, and responsible for arguably one of the greatest lines of snooker commentary ever.
Oh, good luck, mate.
Oh, wonderful! That is really, truly wonderful. A timeless moment. Jack's son lives in Hampshire. His name's Richard, and he's invited me down to talk about the legend of the specs and the invention of his father.
As far as I'm aware, he was the first man to say "under the cosh" on television.
Right.
Which was...
We all use that now.
Yeah, it is. It's almost de rigueur, isn't it, for a sports commentator?
What's it mean? I mean,
It actually means it's a thing from fly fishing. If you catch a trout, when you take it out of the water, you cosh it.
well, you bash it. Yeah, under the cosh.
So, you know, if you're under a great deal of pressure, like you're about to get bashed around the head, you're under the cosh.
Dennis must have definitely felt like a trout pulled out of the water
Well under the
going in that
cosh,
second session.
Yeah, mustn't he?
Father Jack's glasses would have been coming in for a little bit of stick, a little bit of ridicule.
Yes, they were always coming in for ridicule. In fact, my father got a lot of ridicule when he first designed them, but they were incredibly effective, because I remember Dennis worrying about his eyesight was going, and Dad said, well, try a pair of these clown's glasses on, and they suited Dennis well.
That's not bad.
I think there's only one way to say goodbye to you, and that's just to say good luck, mate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't you forget about me.
I took a liberty, a small liberty, with a ball down the rail into the green pocket.
He stretched across the table to pot a green. If the green goes in the corner pocket, it's 9-0.
Well, Steve Davis there at full stretch, in fact overstretched.
I potted the green to pink to win my first frame.
At last, 1 for Taylor, 1 out of 9.
The crowd all cheered in sort of, you know, relief. Dennis sort of, you know, made fun of, you know, in a way, it seemed like, you know, what can you do? You can only go, oh, right, I won a frame, you know, for the fun of it, really, because, you know, the relief as well. And then the tide turned, and I collapsed.
Steve grew up in southeast London, and it was here at the Plumstead Working Man's Club where a little scrawny 12-year-old first showed signs of what would be a remarkable career.
And where he actually learnt the game was on that bottom table playing billiards, by rolling the ball up and down the table, over the spots, backwards and forwards, and by placing a ball somewhere near the middle hole and going in off of that ball into the middle hole, but controlling it so that that other ball that was on the table, the other white, would come back into an almost identical spot.
So Roy Kenwood tells me you spent every day as a kid on a billiard table, rolling the ball just up and down.
Yeah, gee whiz. Well, I mean, the early days for me of practice were about following the Joe Davis blueprint for the game, and my father was very much not a disciplinarian, but a stickler for practice and technique.
He played snooker, of course. We played snooker on this table, you know, sort of friendly matches. But that's where he learnt the control of the ball, the pace of the ball, direction into which it was going to go.
My father never told me to play snooker. It was all of my drive, really. He was just delighted that I liked the game. And, you know, effectively, we'd go down the club together, you know, father and son.
I thought at that stage he would be the world billiard champion. Yes, I did. I did. I came in here one night and he said to me, do you want to see 100 break, Roy? I said, yeah. And he placed 2 balls on the cushions and the third one was there, vertically with his cue, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, 100. And you try and do it, the balls will, and that was the control.
Because my father would be sort of fairly defensive about, don't go for the big shot. You always play within yourself. So if I pushed the boat out, as it's commonly known in the snooker commentary box, and went for a shot that was risky, I'd always get the criticism afterwards.
Well, his father must have been doing something right, because with more than half a century on the board, the man is still playing to the highest level. You've just walked out at the Crucible for the 30th time and got that love.
It's lovely that fact of there's a lot of people obviously appreciate the world of snooker and the characters in it, and the fact that reception was quite amazing. All I could say is that if it was me in the crowd and I'd watched snooker all these years and there was somebody who'd done what I did, I think I'd have to stand up and go, well, look, even if I didn't like you as a player, well done.
It was 25 years ago that Steve Davis, along with Dennis Taylor, had us on the edges of our seats. Fast forward a quarter of a century, and Davis is at it again. Back in 1985, there wasn't much to shout about, really. The miners' strike had just ended a month before the World Snooker final, and the country, I suppose you could say, was at war with itself.
And at the end of this time, our people are suffering tremendous hardship.
So maybe Britain as a whole just needed a hero, or at the very least a bit of escapism. This is South Wales. It would have been a mining village. All the mines are closed now. So I doubt in April 1985 they cared a huge amount about a snooker final, but there was one little boy lived out there called Mark Williams. He was 10 years old, he was the son of a miner, and he would go on to win 2 world titles, and I just have a feeling his memories might be a little bit different. So you're 3 years into your playing career. You're one of the hottest prospects in Britain. You're about to win your first youth trophy, but you didn't watch the 1985 final?
No, I never. I mean, I can't remember watching it. At the time there was the miners' strike and all the stuff happening with the miners thing, and there was a lot more important things happening at that time with everything, and I just didn't get to see it. I remember I used to go picketing with my old man and that. You'd be like 30, 40 people there kicking a football around. All of a sudden this bus will come, going into the pit. It just feels like if he turned into maniacs. It's like throwing stones at the bus and just trying to stop you getting in, like, incredible. It's hard to understand when you're young. Why didn't you just, if they can go into work to get money, why didn't you just do it as well? But then, like, at the time, you could get killed, like.
If you had been watching, on the Saturday night, the second session of that final, I mean, Taylor came from 8 down and finished that session just 9-7 behind. Both players then would have had to go to bed. What do you think, as somebody who's been in these situations, would have been in their head?
Well, the pressure reverses. I mean, once you're 8 frames behind, I mean, you sit there, you must think to yourself, you can't win really, you're just going to try and make the score respectable. You don't expect to win, and then all of a sudden your arm loosens up, you start potting a few balls, making some breaks.
Steve Davis, I can't imagine, would have been the most popular snooker player in Coombe.
Probably not, because he used to win everything. I mean, we're a good old country for not liking people winning. I mean, I think that's our trademark. But at the end of the day, he's got more popular now. He's losing.
The British sporting public do not warm to winners, to people who win day in, day out. Did that hurt you?
A little bit, not much. Because I could understand it, because I'm also British.
So 29 all after 43 minutes of really dogged, dour snooker.
But some of the frames I won in the evening session, I was winning them with frame-winning breaks. And the last 6 frames, I kept Steve in his seat for most of the evening.
Overnight, the score had been 9-7 to me, and it had been 7-all and I won the last 2 frames. It would have been a completely different night's sleep. As it was, I stole, I think, a line from Colin Powell, which was, like I slept like a baby, woke up screaming every half an hour. What an awful, my world had collapsed.